transgender or gender or gender questioning, sorry, those are the words I was looking for, in young people in particular. I think the charity was called LGBT Youth Scotland. Fiona, how are you?
Hi, good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, it seems quite bizarre that Rosie Millard has had to step down from this role for simply saying that she had concerns regarding this charity, a charity that itself has been in hot water. I believe that one of its previous people in charge was actually the ringleader of Scotland's biggest paedophile network. So,
yeah, I mean, this charity... Well, this charity had not one but two convicted paedophiles associated with it, and yet Children in Need continue to fund it. And Rosie Millard, to her credit, challenged that very strongly and managed to stop the funding eventually, but only after this charity has had almost £500,000 of Children in Need money over a period of more than 10 years. So it's highly questionable. I think what this shows us is that, you know, when someone says trans, normal safeguarding processes just go out the window. I mean, you'd think that a charity whose chief exec was a convicted, recently departed chief exec was a convicted paedophile would be a charity that people would be very careful around, but they seemed not to care. All credit to Rosie Millard for having dared to push them. The other big question is, what is the Charity Commission doing? You know, the Scottish Charity Commission said there's nothing to see here. And yet this was a charity that was supposedly only working with over 13-year-olds, 13 to 25, but it actually was discovered to be working in 40 primary schools in Scotland. So there's really a lot to be concerned about here. And all Rosie Millard did was point that out.
When people give their hard-earned money to things like Children in Need, they want it to go to charity. They want it to go to people in need. What they don't want is to give towards political ideology that's being war is being waged upon our schools, as you say, particularly primary schools, where young children should just be, God forbid, allowed to be children, as well as actually I'd go as far as to say secondary school children too. I mean, the fact that I think Miss Millard has said that she, in a quote here, I think my position was made untenable for simply wanting to stand up to make sure that hard-earned money that was donated by the British public was going to charities and causes that was worthy of children in need, and, like you say, not to questionable things. I say, what do you think can be done when it comes to actually tackling this agenda? Do you think that we've just got too many people willing to turn a blind eye because they're feared of being cancelled or being shouted at by a vocal minority on social media?
Yes, I think that people use the magic word inclusivity and then think that nothing can be questioned. And indeed, that's what's happened. Even now, the current chief exec of this charity, LGBT Youth Scotland, has accused Rosie Millard of an anti-inclusivity agenda, as if including paedophiles is something that we should all be seeking to do. I can't think of anything worse. So people need to find a bit of backbone and say, you know, normal rules apply. We look out for children. They depend on us. And no one gets a pass out of those safeguarding rules. But I should say, this is not the only charity where this has happened. I mean, Mermaids, the English charity that also promotes transgender ideas and children transitioning, they also were found wanting. And it took a very long time before the Charity Commission reported on them. And Comic Relief has funded them. So this is not a one-off, and it is a problem. And we're not protecting children from harmful ideas.
Well, 100%, by the way, because actually I took part in a Durham Union debate where we were talking about the puberty blocker ban, and there was arguments that it should be lifted, and others like me who were saying no, they should absolutely remain in place when we do not know the science and the impact this has on people, as well as actually the drug never being designed to somehow be part of agenda questioning individuals. What we should be investing in is good quality mental health, to challenge, to probe, to find out. In many cases we know that there could be, for example, learning needs, or in terms of autism, for example. There could also just be the fact that many young children are just questioning their sexuality. Some may be gay or lesbian and just scared to come out, and that's fine as well, and we should be making people feel that they're able to be themselves and not be fearful of it. But there is too many activists in the charitable sector, too many activists, sadly, as well in the education sector, who are so willing to push people down this line. The fact that we have a respected individual in Rosie Millard feeling that she's had to leave her job in leading a great charity that does great work with young people, and then, as you say, to be attacked by Marie Crawford, who's now the chief executive of LGBT Youth Scotland, as somehow being anti-inclusivity, is for the birds. It's damaging. The British public have had enough of it. If you look at America, they've certainly had enough of it. And it's about time that the Charity Commission take action against activism and politicisation of the charitable sector and make sure they're working in the interests of communities. Would you agree?
Well, I absolutely agree. And I just need to add, the big question here is, who are the good guys? You know, these charities represent themselves as being so cuddly and accepting, but they're the ones pushing medication on these children, pushing stereotypes on them, when the rest of us are saying, just let them be. Let boys do things that are supposedly for girls. Let girls climb trees and play football. We all think those are good things. So why on earth would anyone call that a medical issue? And children don't get those ideas from nowhere. They get them from adults around them. So we're the good guys saying, let these children grow up and be happy with their bodies and their identities as they are. And one more thing, most children who are gender questioning in their youth will grow out of it. And the cure is puberty. They go through puberty and they think, oh, now I understand myself. But when they're given puberty blockers, it stops that development and they nearly all go on to cross-sex hormones. So, you know, really, the good guys are the ones who are accepting children as they are and not medicating them for that.
Thank you so much, Fiona, for joining us today. That was really great. And before we go to the break, I just want to say that the Telegraph revealed that the Scottish charity regulator was investigating LGBT Youth Scotland following complaints made over the past 12 months. And they actually, on LGBT Youth Scotland, the Scottish charity regulator gave this quote: OSCR has received concerns about the charity in the past year. In the instances where regulatory issues have been identified, we are working with the charity so that appropriate follow-up action can be taken by the trustees. Just want to make sure that I present that side of the argument too.